Throughout the year, there are special days and months where we honor the sacrifices that our military members and their families make. The risks they take, the deployments they have, moving from town to town, getting readjusted to different communities. Well, here at VyStar, we honor those sacrifices every single day. And to talk more about that now is Maryanne Kolisnyk. She's Assistant Vice President of Military and Equitable Housing, and Sean Dougherty, Vice President and VyStar's Military Liaison. Thank you both so much for joining us today on VyCast.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it is our pleasure. This is one of our favorite topics to talk about. And Sean, as a military veteran and former naval officer, share a little bit more about your role as a liaison and how that's helped serve the credit union and our military members.
Well, I was honored to have served for 27 years, and I was privileged to have many of the brightest and bravest men and women our country has to offer serve with me. As a military liaison, my primary focus is going to be to foster and strengthen and grow the relationships we have with those military communities here in Central Florida, North Florida, and then in Georgia as well. I'm excited for the opportunity to bring in my experience and just the general support and passion I have for our active duty, the veterans and their families to this job. I'm going to play a vital role for VyStar and making sure that we continue to grow, maintain all these partnerships and initiatives we have to help honor those that have served and those that are currently serving.
And Sean, so many years in the military, I'm sure you started fairly young. Can you share a little bit about maybe what are some of the challenges that the younger military members and their families are facing?
Well, the younger members particularly, as with anyone, the financial strengths of being lower on the pay grade scale associated with having a family, all those type of things. But then you add on that we're deploying, we're supporting our country from afar, and that puts a lot of burdens on those families. Now we got to look at daycares and all kinds of other initiatives that we do. So I'm passionate about making sure that we're taking care of those younger members, particularly all military members as a whole, but it's really the younger generation that I really want to ensure that, because they need the most support. They really do.
That you can mentor up. And Maryanne, share a little bit more about our roots, how we started, and how we are addressing those needs, like Sean mentioned about affordable housing and dealing with the cost of living, Absolutely. How we are addressing those needs.
Yeah, so to give you kind of a history, VyStar started over 70 years ago, back in 1952, over at NAS Jax with only 12 members and $60. So we have come a long way. Yeah. And we really started off to serve the civil service members and their families as really we wanted a place that they could save and borrow money safely. So that's really, we're rooted in the military in that aspect. And so because of that, we developed our Military Heroes Mortgage Program back in November of 2021. And that program was really designed with our heroes for our heroes. We really wanted to speak to them, see what they were looking for when it came to, purchasing a home. And so we developed that product. And it's really a product that's complementary to the VA home loan. So with Military Heroes, it offers, up to 100% financing. We have our closing costs and rate promotion that's included in that. There's some other discounts that the members get when they close with that loan. So, we're really proud of that, that we could offer multiple products to our military community. And also because of that product, went over so well, we were able to develop an Everyday Heroes mortgage program, which includes really our members that have occupations with first responders, the medical community, law enforcement, and that sort of thing, and some essential workers too, because they're on the front lines as well. So it was really important to develop a product for them and give back to the community in that sense too.
And it relates to the community. Sean, VyStar is really involved in so many activities that support military members and their families. Can you share a little bit about why that's important, that they live in a community and they see an organization like VyStar that truly is invested in them and their success?
Well, VyStar is good for the community as a whole. We're proud sponsors of many community events, sponsorships, initiatives. VyStar has been a proud sponsor of the Naval Air Station Air Show since 1991. Proud sponsor for the military outreach for the YMCA here. It gives a lot of different programs for our military members, exclusive memberships. We also are supporting the prisoner of war, the Missing in Action Memorial here over at Cecil Airport. And that's just really to honor those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. They went and served our country and haven't returned home yet. We also sponsored the USS Orlick, which is the centerpiece for the Jacksonville Naval Museum. And, we helped finance the refurbishment of the Orlick itself and then the costs associated with moving from Texas here to Jacksonville. We also have other events that we're supporting as a whole. So the University of Florida, the Brain Wellness Program from the Leon Haley. We help sponsor the 10,000 square foot campus and clinic to help to promote the wellness and the mobility, really helping those that had a traumatic injury and getting them back on their feet.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to hear them speak at an event, and not only did they address the injury, but the trauma that comes associated with getting that injury as well.
Yeah, and just think of the families associated with that. Their military member goes off to serve our country, and then unfortunately they pay a price like that, and they have to come back. And it's the family members that have to help support through that evolution as well. So we need to be as strong for those communities and make sure that we're there to help support, because there's a lot of costs, a lot of stress, and a lot of pressures on those families, and of course the members themselves that are suffering. So.
And Maryanne, Sean mentioned, when they come home, they have that adjustment, whether it's adjusting back from an injury or adjusting back to civilian life and employment. And VyStar also offers a lot of engagement opportunities for military members who are coming out of the military to be able to find a second career, like Sean is here with us as the military liaison for VyStar.
Yes, absolutely. So what's exciting about that is this past year we were designated 2023 Military Friendly Company, which is really exciting. And it really speaks to what we do internally in hiring, veterans, military members, and their spouses. So we're really proud of that aspect. We also, we just launched our VyStar Foundation, which was really exciting, and we gave back, I guess I should say we donated over $200,000 to military organizations this past year. And then what's really neat too is we have our VyStar resource groups, which we have the Vets group, which is VyStar employees that served here, and that's an internal group that focuses on, anybody can join, but it's really focused on military. And within that group, we go out into the community, we volunteer, we have guest speakers come in to really support our military employees.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. And, Sean, if I could close with you a little bit about, going back to the history of 12 people with $60 wanting to put their money somewhere safely. Could you give any advice out there to those young military members about why it's important to find an organization, a financial institution, when you're starting out, so that you can build your financial wealth and your financial wellness?
Well, absolutely, and we talk to our military members about this, but it's important that they understand that, one, here at VyStar, we care about our members, and we're going to make sure we take care of all our members, and in particular military members, but we also educate them as well. We want to make sure they understand the value of saving and growing as they continue to grow in life. So whether it's their mortgages, their investments, we educate them on all those different aspects to make sure that they understand how to really move forward in life.
Well, Sean and Maryanne, thank you so much for sharing all this great information about what VyStar does for our military members. And if you have any questions, you can always go to VyStarCU.org, and you can learn all about our military opportunities that we offer. Well, that is going to do it for us today on this episode of VyCast. For more information about cybersecurity or VyStar's military appreciation events or any of your financial needs, head over to VyStarCU.org. And please make sure you subscribe to our VyCast podcast or follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. And you can also follow us on VyStar's social media channels. Hey, and give us your thoughts on a topic you'd like us to cover. Thanks so much for joining us today on VyCast, and we look forward to spending time with you next time.